Hello and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. My name is Deplorable Knitter. I will change that. My name is Ann Pinkava, and I am here with the lovely Deplorable Knitter. And yeah, that's great. Sorry.
Oh, we're both deplorable knitter today. Because in case you didn't know, Ann and I are married. She uses my account because we're married, so that's life. But
That
we
is
are
true.
also sponsored by Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, and she has provided this beautiful ornament kit that is for one of you lucky viewers. Comment on our episode, you get a kit to make an ornament, a little tape measure, some stickers, a tiny skein, fun stuff. And then if you haven't checked out her shop, make sure you do. And also make sure you check out her one of a kind skein shop, because this skein, you can't get one like it, but I pulled it out because of its kind of Halloweeny vibes here. It's got the purples, and then it's got some like lime green and some like golden orangey. And I don't know, it just seemed kind of, it seems kind of Halloweeny to me. And so I just thought I would show it off to you guys, because she has lovely gems in her shop where sometimes I don't know if maybe it doesn't work out quite the way she expected, or if she just takes her extra dyes and like throws them on some skeins or whatever. But she's got some really cool one of a kind ones, and I love to get them. But then the problem is that you can only use it for one project. You can't make a big project, you can't, but they're still fun to have. So you can check it out. You can get 20% off using our code baby20 PIK. So check out Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. And before we go back to the lovely Ann Pinkava, as she is properly named now, I wanted to show you guys a couple of things I'm working on. My knitting is pretty much in the same spot it was last week. I was working on the beading for the cowl for my students, and that's where it is still. So I'm not going to show you that. But I did start this. I started this yesterday, and it's already this big, which I'm pretty proud of. It's going to be a gift for someone who used to watch, but I don't think they do anymore. But it's cross stitch. I'm excited about it. So yeah, it's coming along. I'll show you guys more once it's bigger. That's happening. And
It's always a back and forth between it's like, yay, my friends and family are watching. It's like, oh no, my friends or family are watching. And then you can't show gifts.
I know. I'm pretty sure that person did stop watching though. I haven't heard from them in a while, so we'll see. But that's okay either way. And then this is what we're making in my crochet class. It is the back panel of a giant cardigan because it's supposed to be like super oversized. I got it for free off of the Make and Do Crew website. It's called the Staycation Cardigan, and I'm making it out of some, I think this is Lion Brand, but it was in my stash, so, and I had enough to make a sweater, so I'm using it. But yeah, I was supposed to have this sweater done by the time school started, and here I am on my back panel. But I'm as far as the kids are, so at least we're doing it together. So,
Right.
but that's what I've been working on this week. So what about you, Anne? What you got to show?
Well, I went to a fiber fair this past weekend, which was very, very fun. And I actually met two of our viewers, which was very, very cool.
Two of them. I knew one was going to be there, but two?
I know. So big hello to Olga and Anna. It was very nice to meet you and very exciting and a little nerve-wracking.
Can I just say something? I think it's so funny that Anne has met several of our viewers, and she lives in South Dakota. I live in New York State, and I have never met anyone. And I find that like what are the odds? The population here is like 800 times what it is there. Like, you
That's
would have
very
thought I would
true.
have come across somebody.
But the conservative knitting population per capita is wider, I bet.
True. I bet you it's 800 times per compared to mine. So, okay. I just think it's funny. It's so ironic. Okay. If I went to Rhinebeck, I'm sure I'd meet somebody, but
But
is it worth it?
I don't know. I still think we should sometime. I think that would be crazy. Um,
We'll have to see. Well, if we need to discuss this.
Later on we'll conspire. But yarn.
Yes. What
So
would you get at the festival?
I got, okay. So the first thing I'm going to show isn't yarn, but it's so dang cool. It hurts. Like it's physically painful to me how cool this is. I got these lovelies, which
Why are they so big?
because these are really, really long double pointed needles and they go at least to a size 0. I think these are smaller because the lady I bought this from, she um, had to kind of make this kit herself. I think it was originally Chinese, so it's not like whatever it is for English or whatever sizes. Anyways, but these ones are German. But anyways, these she bought to go along with this, which is very, very exciting.
Okay. You need to do some more explaining because that's not exciting so far.
Oh, you're like, this is like, I don't understand. Okay, this is a Shetland knitting belt that what you do is, I mean, here's your little strap thing. You belt it onto yourself and you press the back of the needle into yourself and kind of brace it. So you, basically, this is the preferred method of the fastest knitters in the world and all the people of Shetland Islands who made their money off knitting. So these are
So
like,
what you're saying is that you're trying to give Tabitha a run for her money.
oh, I am. All day, every single time. I am trying to give Sabbath for her money. But also it is something that I've been absolutely fascinated with for a while. And of course, here, let me slide one of these out. They're so cool because okay, I'm a circular needle knitter. But okay, but yeah, so this is shoved in, braced in, so you can not stab yourself and have more support. But also, so I'm a circular needle knitter. So what I'll do is when I'm holding my needles, it will be braced in my palm, which is great for me, but probably not great for my wrists. So this is another thing that I'm like maybe changing up my method because I have been getting some wrist pain lately. So maybe changing that up a little bit would help. Or, you know, also I might be Tabitha. And also it's just so dang cool. You know, this may not work for me at all, but I love having it. And I would love to like make a sweater or something using the old ridiculous stabby needles, I think. Anyways,
Very cool.
I'm excited. Like this is some legit old-fashioned stuff here. So yeah, that was a
Cool.
very, very big find. I'm excited about that. Also, sorry, in my bag. This is from a shop called Cato Yarn Co. And these were her special autumn colors, which I thought were very pretty.
Very pretty.
Ta-da. And these guys, um, here we go, are actually hand spun. They're from a company called Knitting My Way Home. And I thought, here, the blue is lovely. I just love that color. But Jackie from Crochet ADHD is going to do a Doctor Who knit along. And I know you're like, yeah, whatever. But these are absolutely perfect for the 10th Doctor. He has a brown suit that is pinstriped with blue. So this is very him. So I'm excited. I have yarn for the thing.
Well, that's awesome. Very
So
cool.
yeah,
I really want like a video or some pictures of you using the belt because even though you've explained it, I still don't feel like I understand how it's practically used.
right. And I did put a picture on Instagram and there were a couple people who were like, I want to see a video of this. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure it out before I do a video of it.
Yeah, no. Figure it out, and then when you get good and you make it look easy, that's when you post the video. So everybody's like, "Wow, Anne is amazing! Look at that!"
Like she's so profesh. And I'm like, yeah. I
Yes,
saw a
because
video
that's something we're always accused of being.
yes, yes, All the time, always. People are coming up to us like, wow, you're so professional. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
So speaking of professional, we also are doing our own fabulous autumn knit along.
Yes.
You want to
I
remind us about it, Anne?
yes. Um, I am so excited for this. But we announced
Anne
it on
and
our
her jokes. She'll do anything for a good joke. So here you
I
are,
will.
friends.
I will. That is my entire knitting career, top to bottom. It's like, oh yeah, do you like to make things? Like, yeah, I do. You like to make blankets? Yeah, that's fine. It's like, do you like to make obscure puns that will make you laugh every single time? Like, sir, that's all I want. That is all I want out of my knitting. So all of that to say, we are doing the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run hashtag that is already blocked by Instagram, and they're now letting up a little bit because they said that this hashtag does not conform to their community standards, which is really confusing because I'm not sure if they're against Puritans because I typed in both Puritan and puritanical and those hashtags work. If they're against knitting, it's likely. Are they against having fun or running?
Maybe,
Unknown.
maybe their concern is that because you said it's a knitting fun run, that does sound quite dangerous.
That's true. Knitting with needles
So,
that long while running. I mean, you could take out an eye.
especially you, you could take out several people's eyes with those
Ex-
needles.
exactly. It's just a weapon of destruction, knitting while running. It's the worst. But anyway, so it's yeah, it's a good time. And I think well, I'm sure somebody reported my post specifically because now it changed from goes against community guidelines to there's no posts at this time, and I knew that my post, and there was another lady who used the hashtag, so now you can see the posts by the other lady who she just put a couple things on the hashtag to show off previous projects she had made with black yarn. But my post is still invisible, so we will see how that continues, maybe post a couple other times, and we might amend the hashtag because on our little graphic, it's knitting puritanical fun run back in black. So we might have to do something with that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, for crazy that they would be mad about a puritanical knitting fun run. I mean,
Oh, I
how upset can people be about this stuff? It's
well
just knitting.
also, I mean, and we'll get to the rules and everything in a second, but I think part of it is like, okay, so other people have knit alongs. October's coming up. There's several things which, Salem witch trial or history of witches or all the stuff. I think that part of it is like, oh, I don't think you're allowed to take the Puritan side in this. And I'm not even saying they're all right. I'm just saying that Puritans had a lot of contributions to American history, and we should discuss them and maybe even discuss them in a positive way because these crazies were real willing to risk everything for religious freedom, which also paved the way for having a mix up in how you ruled the church, also created a mix up in how you ruled governments later with America itself. Like if you hadn't have laid that groundwork, it just wouldn't have happened. So I mean that's really impressive in itself and maybe should be celebrated. But there was some joking. Carrie Smith is back in America, and she had this stream the other night about e-girls and stuff. And I was in the chat, and somebody said that we were in the wrong business. We should do sexy knitting. It's like, no, that is the problem. When you say we are having explicitly unsexy knitting, that is when you get in trouble. When other people do something a little risque, there's like, no, that's fine. Powers that be, totally happy with that. We're like, no, I've consciously made a decision to be unsexy. They're like, dude,
Right.
just get out of
There's
here.
there's a Telegram group that we're all in, and a while ago I posted a knitted one piece bodysuit lingerie thing, suggesting that we did a knit along with it. And Neil was disappointed. I don't think it came in his size, but
Not very
I'm
size
sure
inclusive of the.
I'm sure that they would have been fine with us doing a romper sort of knit along. But no, we want you to be dressed in black from head to toe, cover your, from your throat to your wrist to your ankles. That is inappropriate.
Well, I don't even think the Puritans were that strict, but also it's the thing where sorry, it reminds me of the meme. It's like, I'm not fun because I don't drink. That's a separate choice that I have also made.
And
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
they're special.
I know. Anyways, Puritans are cool though, and
They are cool.
they're cool. They're very cool. So yeah, we're batting on the side of the Puritans. During our knit along is from October through November. Um, you can submit your entry by email, but this is mostly going to be an Instagram challenge. Once we get that hashtag thing all figured out. And we're not going to do anything crazy like Shark Week. We're not going to send out stickers. We are working on merch. We're really hoping for merch
Yeah, we've
because
been having some trouble with that though. We're working on it.
right, we're working through that. Hopefully we'll get there.
Because
But
who wants something with the politically incorrect knitters logo on it? Forget that nonsense. No, you want the Puritans with the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run back in black logo because it's way cool.
that's the thing though, that okay, we've wanted to have merch for a while, but when I came up with this idea and then the lady who did the logo, I'm like, this is almost a better t-shirt than a knit along. Like this is so funny. I want this shirt and I want this mug and I want a bag and I want a hoodie. Um, it's just gonna be my house full
So
of this.
every year for the fun run, will we get a new logo or do we need to put years on it?
We'll see how well the fun run goes. I don't know if we'll repeat this party. We'll figure out a new
Okay.
party next year. This may be a one-time event.
This may be fun though. And
I
I
know.
mean, who does not need Puritan themed items in their wardrobe and their mugs? I mean, come on.
Right.
So,
Yes. But all of that to say, to enter the fun run, you have to knit a project that is at least 3/4 black yarn. Not going to measure that super tight, but we all know what black yarn is. You can kind of guesstimate how much. Like if you have a sweater that is mostly black, but the yoke is another color, perfect. If you're going to do a couple stripes of things, awesome. If you want to do solid black, also good. There's also going to be some yarns. Chicken Lady has one coming out. I know that she's talked about it. Holly was right on that, and she put out a yarn. We'll put the picture here called Pilgrim's Progress, and it is
yes,
so pretty. It's kind of brindly. It's lovely.
it looks like she dyed it colors and then she like over dyed it with black. And
Mhm.
it reminds me of those like oil slick colors that were really popular a couple of years ago, which I always loved but never bought. And so one of my dyer friends, if you ever feel like doing one of those, I'm interested.
Right. And
But
also, okay,
Holly from Mystery Mouse Yarn, in case you're not on a first name basis with her like Anne.
yes, I'm sorry. Holly of Mystery Mouse Yarn, go check out her shop. Her yarn is just gorgeous. And also with her yarn, I am deeming it to be 3/4 black because there's it's black, but there's different colors in there. So I'm using my dictatorial powers to say it's kosher.
Yeah, but Holly also did mention that it would look very good paired with Chicken Lady's Blackety Black.
Yes.
So I could see some stripes where they like alternate or something or color work. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Oh, like a striped cardigan would be awesome.
Mhm. Uh-oh, I think I've given Anne an idea.
I know. I have another idea, but it is 2 months. So you can knit several items in this. Any finished item is eligible for, we're going to have a couple prize giveaways. I have a couple really great prizes from the Plymouth Rock Museum. We have over here we have Mayflower cross stitch. This ain't a prize. This is from DK. First American Cookbook. We have William Bradford on the Plymouth Plantation. There is like knitted. There is a knitting book that they put out of historically correct knitted garments. So all sorts of cool things and yarn as well. There's going to be yarny prizes and things. But we're going to do a couple of winners for just being a part of the knit along, but we are also going to do a photo contest. So anything, framing your picture to be as on theme as possible. And you can swing it whichever way you like. If you want to go ultra puritanical, if you want to go more spooky with it, or have something, a little more Salem witch trials, if you want to go Thanksgiving, however, just general fall themed, however you want to do it, we're going to have a photo contest winner.
Yeah, and you can enter projects that have been started. You don't have to start it in the time frame, you have to finish it. And it doesn't matter how big it is. So if you're a hat knitter, if you just need to make something small, I mean, this is it's a good opportunity to work on your Christmas gifts if you like to knit Christmas gifts, because, people in your life probably, like my husband wants me to make him a black hat. I always say, okay, honey. And then do I ever make him a black hat? Well, no, I don't. So, this might be a good time for me to get on that for him, So
right. And I was surprised too at how many people in the comments had something similar, where it's like, yeah, this for a gift, or, I always wanted to make this shawl in black and I stopped in the middle. So yeah, this is the perfect time. I mean, black is a very practical color.
It is.
So
and
very
there was a question last week in the comments on YouTube. If you are out of the country, we are allowing you to enter. So,
it sounds very harsh that you are allowed. It's like, no, totally. This is open to everybody.
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't sound harsh. It's just somebody said, are we allowed to enter? So I'm just saying, yes, you're allowed to enter. I don't know that all of our giveaways will always be across the world, but this one, I mean, dude, who doesn't need some puritanical knitting stuff in Central Europe or Australia or wherever you guys happen to be? So go for it.
Right. And also too, so it's an all black knit along. It's like, yes, I understand that Puritans didn't always wear black, that they had a group of colors that they wore that were more, I guess you'd say, drab, but they called it sad, but they didn't mean sad as in miserable. They meant sad as in like sober and, restrained. That they, like rust colors and like faded greens and stuff that, black seemed a little too harsh for them to wear all the time, which I'm like, I love these people. I love these crazies. But yeah, I think it's fun. And I
wouldn't
think
be any fun if we were like, hey, use the Puritan colors. Like, this is more interesting for sure. Back in black.
I mean, also back in black, exactly. And it makes it more of a challenge too, because knitting with black yarn is a pain in the butt. So
true story.
It is true. Anyways, I hope y'all like it. I hope y'all have a good time. I'm excited. You're excited.
Who wouldn't be excited? I mean, come on. So there's that. And then I wanted to tell you the story that has nothing to do with anything. And we're going to talk some news. Because before we started recording, I said to Anne, I forgot to make an important phone call today. But I didn't go any further than that because I figured I'd tell you all. So once upon a time, a long, long time ago, my mother owned a wedding dress shop. And she made custom gowns, and we made custom gowns together, but we also sold dresses. And then we realized that working with brides is stupid and nobody actually wants to do it. So we stopped doing the wedding dress shop. But we have a lot of wedding dresses in my mom's basement. And so I'm trying to find a place where I can open a storefront for like 3 months and like advertise the heck out of it and sell off our overstock, because the wedding shop was open in the 2000s, like early 2000s. So everything is vintage now. So now we have like 100 vintage new tags wedding gowns. In case anybody's interested, hit me up. But So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do this winter because I don't have enough things on my plate. Um, I'm gonna open a store to sell vintage wedding dresses for until we can get them on my mom's basement. So that was the story. I have to call these people because I got to find out how much it costs. Like, hopefully, I
Yeah.
can sell enough dresses to cover the cost, and then maybe make a little bit of money off of them. But yeah, we've had wedding gowns in my mom's basement for 20 years, and finally, I've said it's time to go. So that's my story about that. In case you guys ever want to know anything weird about me,
There you go.
so that's something I have to work on though, because cash money.
Cash money.
It's sitting in the basement. Might as well see what we can do. There's
Yeah.
shoes, there's veils, there's tiaras. I mean, anything you want for a wedding gown, I have. Just saying. But you have to be a size 12, so good luck with that. So anyway, that's my story about that. Maybe I'll cut the whole thing out. But why don't you start telling us about what's going on in the world? Because I'm sure it's fabulous.
Oh, there's a lot going on in the world.
Okay.
Believe me. Starting with some fun stuff at home. Biden announces the American Climate Corps, which is to mobilize young people for the front lines of clean energy and climate resilience.
I'm a fan of them making a core for anything. Kind of reminds me of the Hitler Youth.
Yeah,
Um,
a bit.
and I know everybody throws around the Hitler thing, but there's something to getting kids on board with these ideas early. That's not good.
Yeah, and
So
I mean, you already had plenty enough liberal indoctrinated kids who were all like, no, ma, from everything from wearing your seatbelt to, the teacher told me about, the polar bears and the ice caps melting. It's like, oh, now they're organizing. That's great.
yeah,
That's
no.
fantastic. That's cool little uniforms. Yeah, we didn't have enough climate Nazism with old Greta. We need to make it official.
Once again, as a person that drives an electric car, I don't do it because I think I'm helping the environment. We did it because it was cheaper for us and we needed a commuter car. And I think that people need to understand that. There's different tools for different jobs. Sometimes they work well for you, sometimes they don't. And making everybody use the same tool for different jobs it doesn't make sense. It's like trying to do an oil change with a screwdriver. That's my husband's analogy. He's always like that. But
Right. Well, it's very true. And also, so much environmentalism doesn't help the environment, just like animal
no,
activism doesn't help
it,
the animals,
it's just
for the most
brainwashing.
part. Right. I saw this article about, to combat CO2, we're going to chop down trees and bury them. And that's going to, help various, I don't even know, whatever CO2
Don't
nonsense.
okay. I'm not teaching our science right
It's
now.
so stupid, I
It's been
can't
a
take
long
it.
time since I've been in
That
school, but
decomposing trees are nicer than live trees, apparently, for the
don't
climate
we breathe
change.
in oxygen and then breathe out CO2, and then the plants take the CO2 and take it in and then give us oxygen? Isn't that how it
Yeah.
works? So
Yes,
what's the
yes, it
point?
is.
What's the point of cutting them down?
I
If
don't
we're
know.
worried about CO2, shouldn't we be making more trees so that
I
they
would
can
think so.
continue to suck it in and give us more oxygen? I mean, I
I
am
kind
not a
of think of it
scientist.
as a Saruman thing of just, seeing something beautiful like trees and wanting them dead. Um, anyways, yeah,
I
no
find that
matter.
seriously disturbing. Okay, moving on because what
Yeah.
how much worse can it get? Let's go.
Um, Briefly, as we move along, that Biden is going to announce the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which is totally not going to take your guns or do, very literally, it's totally not going to do anything useful towards gun violence prevention at all. Slightly. It's going to be bad.
I I don't. Okay, moving on.
Okay, moving on still. Um, good news that the House Financial Services Committee passes a bill to ban the Federal Reserve from creating a central bank digital currency.
Oh,
So,
good.
aces.
Thank you for not being total buttheads.
Yeah, I mean, not that they'll probably not push for this another way, but that is good news.
Right? Okay, good.
Okay.
I was somewhere the other day and there was a sign. Where was I? I was at the doctor's office because my youngest has an ear infection. And as of July, our healthcare system here where we go is not accepting cash payments anymore, which I find completely disturbing because isn't that the national currency? I should be able to walk in
It,
anywhere and give them cash and pay for whatever I want to pay for, right? Am I
right.
incorrect?
Well, and not only that, I mean, part of it is that, I mean, not only that, but the banknote is supposed to be back in ye olden days that the banknote is the backup for gold,
Right.
for silver,
Well, that
for
went away forever ago. There hasn't been
yeah,
a
well,
gold standard in forever.
who cares about that? But that is the idea, right?
Hmm.
That there's no longer gold standards and how our money isn't attached to anything. And there's apparently no consequence if our entire system collapsed because our government doesn't seem to be really interested in paying back debts. Seems a little irrelevant to them, weirdly enough. But that is the idea that you have paper money because you don't want to be carrying around 50 pounds of gold if you're
Right.
making, purchases. But now we have worse than that. We have a little flit of electronic light as opposed to our piece of paper. And of course that works. Hi, we're talking. Hello, we're here. And we buy stuff
Yep.
online and the stuff arrives to our doors magically, but there is currency exchange. But again, that is supposed to mean something, that it
Right.
is supposed to be attached to our currency and the currency has buying power. That having less of an actual thing in the real world is a problem.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of any of it. And I would like to go back to bartering and carrying gold around. I mean, back in black,
Back in
bring it back.
black.
Part of the
Exactly.
fun run. Bring back the gold standard. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Moving on.
Well, I have a bit to say about Russell Brand. I know that you had other stuff you wanted to touch on.
Oh, no. I just wanted to mention, and I didn't delve into it like Anne likes to delve into the news, but I noticed I saw an article today about a school in Pennsylvania. The kids staged a walkout because they were allowing males into female spaces. And so, you hear all of this terrible stuff. You hear about the climate change, youth, whatever. And it's good to know that there are still kids who are like, no, no, dudes should not go in the women's room. Just
Yeah.
shouldn't. Don't care whether or not you're wearing a dress today. Um, and it's those are the things that are going to make people notice. And also today I saw a kindergarten teacher with a beard and some gray hair. I think it was kind of longish, wearing a dress and red nail polish and talking about how he teaches kindergartners. And I went to the school district's website, who has limited comments on their posts because they must have been getting a lot of pushback. So, guys, these are good, easy things that we can do to tell people what nonsense this is.
Mhm.
I got to tell you, though, if my kindergartner went into a room with a dude in a dress, we would all be walking directly out because
Mhm.
it it just is. It They wouldn't be in that classroom with that person in the first place because there's something wrong with that person. They should not be allowed to be around 5-year-olds. But that's just common sense. Um,
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm thinking Rainbow Brigade again, back in black. Sorry, just say
right.
no.
Although,
When the whole world is going nuts, sometimes you just gotta.
although I do have a student in my knitting class who has a beautiful keychain that says "Take Back the Rainbow" from the Ark, and yeah, we also shouldn't be afraid of the rainbow, but
No, and
also
no,
we
and
shouldn't be letting it be in the classrooms like that. Like there are ways to do it.
right.
Oh, and then one of my friends called
And
me
this is
today
not
in
a
a
statement
panic.
against color.
Oh, no, no, no. But one of our friends called today in a total panic saying that they read that Kamala was going to be president and Biden was out. And I'm like, that rumor's been going around for a long time. Have you heard anything new about that? No.
Me, not particularly. I know
Okay.
that Gavin Newsom is doing like a kind of a world tour kind of
I
thing,
know.
as if the creepy, greasy Joker dude is really going to make a run for it.
Worst. He's the worst.
But
I don't like him. Okay. Moving along.
exactly. The Russell Brand controversy I wanted to talk about. Talking about creepy, greasy dudes. I'm sorry. Like Russell Brand says a lot of good things, but part of the worst part of this, besides the charges of assault, are having to see his face all the time because I'm like, yeah. Anyways, no, not that Russell Brand was a big media figure in England, had quite a raucous lifestyle, then over the past couple of years in particular, there was quote red pilling. I'd say come to Jesus moment, but I don't know his particular religious beliefs, but he
Mm-hmm.
he started questioning all the vaccine stuff, and he started questioning all the war stuff and the global government and the rest of it. And now he's affiliated with Rumble and affiliated with a lot of very conservative channels, though I mean, you would definitely say he's more conservative, but he's not traditionally conservative, I guess I would say.
So he's like all the other liberals who are more conservative leaning, but yeah, he might be like on the conservative side now, but when people are liberal, I think that they don't lose all of their beliefs. And I think that that's normal because if you're so far to one side and then you come to the other side, I don't think that you can just shed everything. That's not
Right.
normal. So yeah, his brand might be weird is all I was getting at.
No, totally. But what has happened is that basically a hit piece documentary came out, and you say, oh, don't assume it's a hit piece, maybe these accusations are true. Okay, maybe these accusations are true,
Right.
but also they didn't go to the police, they went to the media.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm pretty
Um,
sure if something bad happened to me, well, I've had some weird things go on with cops lately, but generally I would say go straight to the police.
Well, exactly. And also that kind of shows up later in the story.
Okay.
But not only that, okay, so four women, okay, so Russell Brand, everyone knows the lifestyle that he had before. Drugs, just an astronomical amount of women he slept with, just out there. That he now has four accusers saying that, they were young and manipulated, and that um I don't know how to word this, that yes, they were consenting to a relationship with him, but also, that there was sexual assault, and that there are receipts of Russell Brand apologizing afterwards about what happened and different things like that. So it's all a little shady.
Right.
Again, not that it may not have happened, but also for the amount of women he was known to have slept with. Um, and other things that there's some questions about this evidence and what's going on here. Um, and also it mimics other big celebrity cases where like the Michael Jackson is a big one that okay, I never gave two straws about Michael Jackson in particular. So this is so the it was more recent for me that hit the big all of the things on him and the documentaries about him really are unsubstantiated, all of it, and all of it was thrown out of court. That the that you do have these cases. Kevin Spacey, everyone's like, yeah, Kevin Spacey, weirdo, was fired from everything. It's like, but there is no legal precedent. There is no legally provable thing for Kevin Spacey. Okay,
Right.
maybe
And
maybe Kevin
I'm sorry.
Spacey is a horrible person, but also that the witnesses, what they say, don't line up with the truth. And that was another thing in the Michael Jackson case, that they would change their story like 3 or 4 different times, and they would allege that things have happened in places they weren't, in buildings that didn't exist yet. That the time frame that you really have to do, you really have to have a time frame, and you really have to do a where was everybody at the time, and these accusations are just not holding up. um so you have these issues, and you have these big celebrity pieces, and the Russell Brand thing. The British media cleared the books for the Russell Brand thing. They told all of, like, it was known in the different newspapers that, hey, no one's getting time off, everybody in office this weekend, this is going to be big, and it turned out to be the story. Sorry, you were going to say.
No, I was just going to say, I wonder if some of it, like you mentioned Kevin Spacey, and I think, I don't remember the specifics of what happened with him, but I also think that there's stuff that people look at from many years ago when the culture was a lot different to now. I'm not saying assault is ever correct or rape or any of that stuff, but also the things that people accepted back then are different. Like, it makes me sound like I'm making excuses, but you understand what I'm saying too, is that, maybe he pushed the boundary. It's back before, everybody was saying no means no. Like, not that they should ever do these things, but also you look at things that happen through the lens of now, and it isn't exactly cut and dry, I guess is my point. Does that make sense? You're looking at me
Yeah,
like you're...
and no, I would say that, okay, that, again, not this is not saying that, this is not making an excuse for an assault or anything of the kind. It is, you're having a relationship with Russell Brand, and everybody knew what having a relationship with Russell Brand was about. And right now, I mean, right now he's married, he has several kids, he's settled down, he's much more, he's clearly put all that behind him, and now it's coming now with his, when he's doing
Well,
this Rumble career, and he's, talking about Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum, you know.
and that's the other thing too, is that I think people forget. Like, I know that you in your 20s was pretty much the way you are now. Me in my 20s, I did a lot of stuff that I wouldn't necessarily talk about nowadays. Not anything out of control bad, but I am not who I was then. And so, you know, sometimes you need to look at the picture. Like you said, if you were with him, you knew what it was like to be with him. You knew what you were getting into. Not that assault is ever correct, but also he's a womanizer. He's a drug addict. You know what I mean?
Right. But yes, so there's a lot still to be in the investigation of what's going on. And again, they didn't go to the police. So again, potential investigation for this. The story has come out. He's already, been branded with this right now. But more interesting is day 2 than day 1, because YouTube pulled his monetization. And here's the thing, they pulled his monetization not for anything he said on the platform, for his off-platform conduct, and not only his off-platform conduct, but an accusation of off-platform conduct, that he has not been, like, formally accused, and then, through a court of law, he has not been tried for anything. Yes.
That's bad for all of us.
Yes. Well, and it gets worse from there, but hang on.
Okay.
As a little aside, this is point 2, and this is a point 4 issue. But it doesn't really connect to the story. By the way, YouTube has this fun new thing saying that you can't make money off the Ukraine war. So it's just YouTubers who can't make money off the Ukraine war. Everybody else is okay, though. They're making money hand over fist. Particularly the Democrat Party. It's fascinating. But you cannot make money that exploits, dismisses, or condones the war in particular.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's super fun. Anyways, Russell Brand and YouTube. So Snap no longer gets any monetization off YouTube, but he has a big deal with Rumble. He was one of the first to do so, so that's, really amazing. Ah, and here we remember Ofcom. Remember Ofcom? Ofcom is
Uh,
the
Ofcom
yeah,
sucks. Am I allowed to say
yeah.
that? Am I gonna get in trouble now?
I don't know because we're not British.
Oh
So it
yeah,
shouldn't
good.
affect us, but it does actually, because not just our friend Neil is British, but all free peoples of the world stand together. Hi, free speech is important everywhere, even our Commonwealth buddies. Um, but
Yeah,
okay,
Ofcom sucks. Okay.
Ofcom sucks. And you will remember Mark Stein's lawsuit with Ofcom is that Ofcom blocked any quote misinformation about COVID and any of the treatments and vaccines. And basically, if you questioned having a vaccine at all, you were taken off the air. And it was not allowed, and that was considered to be wrong. Okay. And that you had to give at least equal time, but that didn't really happen because it could only go one way. Anyways, so Stein is taken off. um that GB News was fined for what Mark Stein did, and he was supposed to go into like corrective training or whatever. He said, screw that. GB News did not stand with him. And while I just saw GB News, they're putting out things like, aren't we clever and aren't we doing good ratings? Best ever. It's like, yeah, you didn't stand with Stein. And now Com is coming for you because the UK just passed their Online Harms Act, which means y'all are
Is it like the Canada thing?
it's in the same ballpark, yes.
Oh,
That
good, good.
Ofcom, particularly Dame Caroline, she Ofcom is in charge of what you can say on the internet. Now, Ofcom are not judges. There's no trial, there's no jury, there's no notes. This is just a Dolores Umbridge government agent saying exactly what she says, and that counts as law. That you have people like that counts on law when it comes to your free speech online or on TV. And that, again, that's part of Stein's lawsuit. He says, hey, you said this was misinformation. We are proving that it was true information and that you did active harm to people, not getting them this information sooner, because we do have the vaccine injured and the bereaved is a big group. And you do have people who have suffered active harm. And Stein himself, about his own condition, will say that it is not unlikely that it's a contributing factor. Um, that you have all of these issues, and he's basically taking them to court saying, you're saying that we were wrong and that's why what we said was taken off, where we're going to prove in a court of law that we were right the whole time about what we were saying, and you were wrong, and it is wrong to censor people, and that you need to have these free debates and discussion, and under British law that you do have these free speech principles. At the same time, you have this online harms bill that just passed. So the lovely folks of Ofcom, again, Toby Young kissed their boot, Mr. Free Speech Union. But the lovely folks at Ofcom now bring to you their messaging Rumble and TikTok, telling them to get Russell Brand demonetized. That, hey, YouTube took away this guy's money. You should too, because it's harmful. Again, he did not violate policy, and we all know that YouTube's policy is whatever. Okay, that it goes from day to day on what they
Right.
do, what they don't do, who they flag, who they don't flag. It's all very subjective. But the government is messaging platforms saying that this person should not get advertiser money. This person provides a service to the platform, as in provides content to them,
Right.
and they get advertiser money in return, but that is not what the British government wants them to do. That this person ought not be paid for you because he's trouble to us.
That seems messed up.
It is. And
It's like some
also,
sort of government overreach.
yeah, it seems like a lot of government overreach. Also, this lovely Dame Caroline Dinage, I believe her name is pronounced. She also wrote the BBC saying, "Good work on the hit piece." Also, if you could have like the victims file police reports.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now it
Hmm.
makes sense that it's like, hey, if this is a real thing, that it should file police reports, but also it is a little bit of a threat that is, by the way, we want you to press charges.
Yeah.
It's like, well, also, okay, maybe these women totally do have legitimate, um, again, legitimate grievances, and maybe they do have legitimate evidence against Russell Brand. But also, you can just put any old thing in a documentary. It's wild. You just need soft lighting and slow, measured speech with the hint of a tear that you don't really need to have anything substantial. That and suddenly, um, it's it's kind of a hey BBC, we own you anyways. Get the guy for us.
Right. No, it's I don't care where you fall on issues. Everybody should be mad about this kind of stuff because yeah, they're going to start with the people you don't like, but then they're also going to go after you once they've taken care of everybody they don't like. Like it's not just they don't just stop once they get rid of all the bad guys.
Oh, totally. And I don't know, it frustrates me. And again, it with Ofcom in particular, it frust and this happens everywhere, okay? This happens with there's a lot of people you don't like, and there's a lot of people you don't particularly want to defend. And that's not a particular diss for me against Russell Brand or anything. But it's like with the Mark Stein case, it's like you didn't see that Ofcom was already overreaching, and how many people did not complain about Ofcom overreaching then. And then they took it farther, and now it's the internet. And now, as we've mentioned on the show before, that the regulatory system of Ofcom, they want for the whole EU. Okay, this is not good for free speech and the free peoples of the earth. Okay, this is a definite clampdown on free speech. And very luckily, Rumble too. Rumble said, up yours. We're not going to do anything. We've committed to free speech here. We're not going to demonetize Russell Brand or kick him
Right.
off our platform or anything of the kind.
Right. Which is good, but also messed up. Okay. I vaguely know who he is, but he's never been. Is he an actor? Musician?
He
What
was
is he?
he was an actor, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can recognize him. I've seen him. He's got that grungy hair, which is why I thought maybe he was a singer like Nirvana era. He's got that look, kind of dirty. But but I honestly don't know if I've ever seen him in anything, which is I'll have to look him up when we're done. But it's messed up. The whole and the worst part about all of this is we've got Canada saying, hey, if it's not like a real news source, you can't get it on the internet or whatever it was. And then you've got the EU trying to like clamp down and the BBC like spreading this and everybody should be terrified because
It
Canada's done it, the UK's done it, like who's gonna follow? Oh, that would be us with our climate change army. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, also, it does seem that among certain circles that the lesson learned from the COVID years was not, oh man, guys, we really messed up. Maybe we
No,
weren't as right as we thought we were. The lesson was too many people were allowed to disagree, particularly online.
right,
We should
right.
stop
And
that.
I saw a video today, and I've been racking my brain because I wanted to tell you about it. I cannot for the life of me remember exactly what he said, but it was Tom Hanks pretty much lambasting anybody who won't wear a mask. I don't remember what he said about it though, but so we're going back to this. You don't wear a
Right.
mask, you're a
No,
bad
that
person. We
exactly.
hate you.
There are people out there with masks again. Okay, we learned. again, the the time period between which I thought, hey, maybe masks and I are a good idea was before the time period when masks were actually enforced because we already had the information knowing like, hey, actually it isn't. You're like, hey, maybe this is a good thing. It's like, no, wait, hang on. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Not the microplastics in itself, the germs, the funk, the buildup. The only thing that it defends anyone outside of yourself from is if you're actually like coughing spit on them.
Yeah.
That's a guard, but really it's not an air thing. The amount of oxygen intake is an issue if you're having like one of the N95 masks. It's a no-go. It doesn't work.
Well, and then there's the whole thing of the climate change brigade should be very upset about the litter. I don't know
Yeah.
about how it is there, but here you go into a parking lot, there's masks everywhere. We're not
Yeah,
allowed to
not
have plastic
biodegradable.
bags here in New York State, but you can find 17 masks in a parking lot. So I'm sure that we're still saving the planet because we're not using those damn plastic bags anymore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just nonsense. And the mental gymnastics people are doing to get to these conclusions is just, I,
No, but I know people who actually are like, oh no, I had a cough, so I tested for COVID. Literally, why?
dude,
Because what
I'm
what
sorry.
what changes if you
Yeah.
have COVID versus anything else? What is like woohoo, nobody cares or has cared for a while, but it's almost like I don't know, there's almost a glee, like, yay, we can get back into the happy COVID spirit again and not leave our houses because that was so much fun. I think they're almost nostalgic for it. It's weird.
Yeah. No, so you guys may have seen me on Saturday when I was pretty sick. And by Sunday morning, I woke up and I knew I had a sinus infection. I could tell my face was puffy. I I won't tell you all the gross details, but I had signs that I knew means I have a sinus infection. And so I got on a on-demand video visit. So my doctor's office has these on the weekend, so you don't have to go to urgent care if it's something that doesn't actually need to be seen by a doctor. Explained all my symptoms, and her first question was, "Did you take a COVID test?" And I'm like, "No, I'm explaining to you why this is a sinus infection." And then we talked for another minute, and she goes, "Yeah, I can see by like the puffiness in your face and stuff that it probably is. And from what you're telling me, it probably is. So why does it matter if I took a COVID test? If you can look at me over the computer, over my phone, and see the swelling in my face, and I explain my symptoms to you, and you say, yeah, that sure sounds like a sinus infection. Why does it matter if I took a COVID test? Even if I had COVID, it's apparently turned into a sinus infection. So can we take some antibiotics now? Like,
Right.
you know
And
what I
here's the
mean?
yeah, with or without COVID, you're taking some antibiotics now, or
Right, right.
Dayquil or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, no. But that was the conversation. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I can see the swelling, like it was really swollen here and like my ears oh my gosh, on Sunday morning my ears hurt so bad I couldn't swallow." And I'm like, "I know it's a sinus infection because it was the throat, nose, ears, like the triangle right here, and that's what that is." And but yeah, no. Who cares if I took a COVID test? I could have taken 17. It doesn't matter. Still not the issue right here. Anyway, sorry, that's my little rant about that.
Anyways,
The nonsense. The cult is coming back, guys. It's fall. So
and also, just like last time, just say no
yeah,
and feel free to mock people out of town because sometimes, I people are in their own little bubble and they just don't realize. And it is ridiculous and it should be treated as ridiculous. This,
yeah.
okay, falling for it again deserves nothing else but scorn and derision. Okay,
Ask
they
Dan.
should
She's
know
willing to
better.
mock anybody to their face.
Yeah. Actually, I'm more willing to mock people I know than people I don't know, which doesn't always work out for me, but I'll do it. But
Yeah.
it is so shameful. It is shameful to wear a mask now. It's outrageous.
But we've already done this. We know that it didn't help. We know the outcome. I mean, if you are sick and you're worried that you have to go out to the store and you don't want to cough on people, like that's one thing. But wearing the mask isn't going to stop it from coming to you. It protects them from your flying spittle and not a whole lot
Yeah.
else. And
And
so,
not the germ particles either, just the spit. Also, you're hurting your own throat. Also, just
yeah,
if you're that
yeah,
sick, stay home
right,
like we
right,
used to.
right.
And if you're kind
And
of sick, people have been out and about and kind of sick for a long time. You're okay. You're
I
okay.
know that's what I was going to say. I mean, I feel bad because we've had this, whatever it is, for a week now, 2 weeks. And like we went to co-op and stuff, but it's like nobody has a fever, nobody is vomiting, nobody is. So all of the things that used to be like the benchmarks of you need to stay home, we passed. So I'm living life, and I think everybody should, because all that's going to happen is that if you stay home every time you have a sniffle, you're not going to have any sort of immune system, and it's just perpetuating the fear. And I know that here it's a lot different than it was there. And I see the people wearing their masks again, and we should be smarter this time. We saw what happened. We know they didn't do anything. So move on. Just saying. But, oops, I dropped it. If you want to win the Chicken Lady Ornament Kit, make sure you comment on this video. Our last winner got her kit. She said it was lovely and she was so excited for it. So this is the only other one that she gave us. So enter to win. I don't know if they're going to be on her site or not, but you can get one from us. Use the code BABY20 PIK for 20% off of all of Chicken Lady's yarns, including her fantastic one-of-a-kind skeins. The more I look at this, the more I want to knit it. I guess I am getting a little bit into the fall spirit. Usually I'm sad to see summer go, but this year we need the structure. I'm really happy we're back to school because we were just flying free and it was a little too much freedom for us. So
Right. And also, not only do not only check out her website at chickenladyfiberarts.com, but also subscribe to her newsletter because she has new and beautiful yarns coming out all the time. Fall is coming, Christmas is coming. Yeah, I know, but also get your Christmas knitting in. And yeah, check out her beautiful yarns.
absolutely. And so like, comment, subscribe, guys. Tell your friends about us because we want to reach more fabulous knitters who like to listen to us ramble about politics. And
And we are the deboosted conservative knitting podcast. It is
deboost.
hilarious, but also it's very true.
Somebody say that about us?
No, just that
Oh,
the YouTube and Instagram and those folks don't particularly like our
oh
flavor.
yeah. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant about boosters because we were talking about COVID.
Oh,
But
we
I
don't do
got
those
you.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. I thought maybe the craft snarkers were saying stuff about us again. But yeah, so sign up for Chicken Lady, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys on Tuesday for Life from the Knitting Wars.
We will.
Okay?
Okay.
Cool. We'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Bye.